who will guide you to get that particular formula what you're looking for. Then he decided to go there. He decided to go and meet the Zen master. Then he says, okay, whatever may be the thing, I'm going to go there. So he decides, he packs his bag up, goes by train, bus, car. He takes different modes of transportation. Then he was required to walk some 50-60 miles. Then he said, it's okay because I want that formula. And then the condition was what? The person who comes to meet the Zen master was allowed to ask only one question. He was not allowed to ask the second question. That was the thing. Then this fellow with the tired muscles, tired body, tired mind, tired soul, he goes to the Zen master. So finally he reaches the hut where the Zen master was living. Then he meets his assistant. Then his assistant says, you be here, be seated, wait here so that I can call our master. But the condition is you can ask only one question. That was the condition. Then he agreed because that's what to get that formula from the person who knows everything. So that kind of attitude he had. So he sat there patiently. Then he was offered with a tea and he was offered with some roti, bread and all. So he has it, he satiates his hunger. Then later on he sits waiting. Then suddenly Zen master comes in front of him and he was stunned to see the Zen master because all the time what he expected was Zen master must be an old baldy fellow with a beard and with a sleeking neck. This way he was expecting. But what he happens to see is a very pretty young woman, young lady who was so beautiful that he was stunned looking at him. Then Zen master sat comfortably, then said, okay, what I can help you? What do you want? So this question was asked by the Zen master. And this fellow was so baffled that he was not able to give a response at all. Then he suddenly asked one question. He was allowed to ask only one question. So he asked only one question. What was the question? Ma'am, are you married? This was the question. So friends, hope you're all enjoying this story. The gist of the story is what? We listen something, we hear something, we see something, we perceive the things in our own mind, we decide that this must be the thing. Before hearing somebody, we jump into conclusion deciding that this is what this fellow is going to or trying to tell me. So this story reminds you of your goal in life. This story reminds you of your purpose in life. What purpose we are having today. Can you see this picture on the screen? There's a girl who is looking for something, who is trying to discover something, right? So emotions every time gives us some kind of introspection, some kind of what you can say, the discovery mode. So we are discovering ourselves. So this is called a discovery. So what do you think are the objectives of our program? To learn about human emotions. Can you name few? Fear, anxiety, sadness, happiness. All these are human, what you can say, the nature of the emotions. Without emotions, we cannot live our life. To begin the journey of excellence by knowing our emotions, our own emotions, what our body is feeling, what our mind is feeling, where I am getting the sensation in my body when I am listening to this. So all these things you will learn in this session. To understand the difference between IQ and EQ, to learn the techniques of choosing career with the help of emotions, what you love to do, that you need to encash with your emotions and your passion, right? So when I was a child, IQ was very important. If you have good IQ and then you happen to get the seat in IIT, IIM or somewhere like that, then you are the best. But now it is the era of EQ, the emotional quotient or emotional intelligence, without which our life will become a wreck. Okay, so what is EI? It is an ability or capacity to perceive and assess and manage the emotions. Have you any time cried out of happiness? When was the last time you cried out of happiness? When you could shed the tears out from your eyes because you are happy? Can you raise your hands? Can you raise your hands? See, now the situation is how? Yeah, fantastic. Very good, very good. Done, done, done. Okay, now the situation is, if you sit and cry or make a gloomy face, then people may or may not ask you. But if you smile, if you be happy, and that too taking your cell in your hand, looking at that, and you become happy, or your face is showing that, what you can say, the signs of happiness from inside, then people will be alert. They'll come and ask you, why are you happy? What's happening? So the situation is, we need to give the reason for our happiness. Happiness is the primary nature of human being. But instead of asking, why are you unhappy or sad, people ask us the reason for being happy. Isn't it amazing, friends? So every time you feel the emotion, value the emotion, right? So EQ is how one measures the emotional intelligence, right? Your teacher appears in the class, you don't like that subject, you neither like that subject nor like that teacher. She enters your class, you happen to look at her, suddenly something comes back of your mind. Oh, 1 hour I have to tolerate this class. That you are showing with your eyes to your teacher, right? You cannot not communicate is the concept of NLP, neuro linguistic programming. What it says, you cannot not communicate, you are always communicating, right? So are we able to hide our emotions? Are we able to hide what we are feeling inside, right? So how you can be more intelligent in understanding your situation is with these 4 concepts of emotional intelligence. The first thing is what? Self-awareness. Be aware what exactly you're feeling. You might have expressed with your friends, right? You might have expressed, like, I'm feeling somewhat uneasy. I don't know what it is. I'm feeling somewhat uneasiness in my stomach, or butterflies are flying in my stomach. Something is there, but I don't know what it is. If you have encountered such a situation, that means self-awareness is not there. You're sitting somewhere, somebody whom you adore a lot, love a lot, they just enter the hall. Your eyes will shine. Your face will become brightened with joy, right? And you're not self-aware that what you're depicting outside. But the people can make out from your face that you're feeling happy, right? So self-awareness is bringing an awareness in yourself, like what exactly I'm feeling. If you get the answer for what exactly I'm feeling, you will get the answer for why exactly I'm feeling it, right? So why emotions are important? Because they make our life. Do you think the negative emotions, so-called negative emotions like anger, fear, these don't serve any purpose at all? Do you feel like that? How many times, you raise your hand and tell me how many times anger worked for you? You being angry worked for you. Yes, work for you. Yes, right. It works. It works because it is somewhere. See, if you watch some Nana Patekar movies, you will come to know, right, how anger can make the miracles, right? So anger you get because your expectation is not met. You're not meeting with the expectation. What you expect is different. What you are getting is different. Then what happens? The burst inside, it will burst out of in form of anger, right? So what is your taste? You tell me, what is your taste of emotion? What you do to get the works done from the people? Do you shout? Do you argue? Do you reprimand them? Do you issue the memos, or do you threat them, or you love them, convince them, persuade them? What is your flavor in convincing the people? So is it that you are taking control over them? It is very difficult because we cannot take control on our own mind. We cannot take control on our own body. Then how can we expect to control somebody else? We can arrest the body, but we cannot arrest the mind. Do you agree? Do you agree with this? I can ask you to sit in the class the way I want you to sit, but I cannot arrest your mind. Your mind is free. It is a freedom which every human being has got. So the EQ includes self-awareness, thinking what exactly I'm feeling. Why am I feeling? Right? So the study of this emotional intelligence that hit to my mind when I met my friend 15 years ago, when she had a heartbreak, 2 rejections. Can you understand by 2 rejections, one after the other? Immediately she was very down, and whenever she was in the office, she always used to go to washroom. Why? Because she would get some room to cry, to shed the tears. We hide the tears. We don't shed it in front of everybody. If somebody asks you, how are you? What will you say? Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. How are you, buddy? This will be the monotonous response. But monotony is not what the human being is made for. Can you imagine the predicted responses? Predicted responses when you go to a 5-star hotel, the one person opens the door for you, wishes good morning, sir. Then you will be seated in the on the table, and then one person comes and smiles at you, asking, "What would you like to have?" This is the predicted response. What is unpredicted response? You go from your college or office after a hard day work, right? You are working as a lecturer in the college, professor in the university. Then you go tired to your home. You're half an hour late. Half an hour late. When your wife opens the door, yes? Can you hear me, sir? Shubha, can you hear?
Yes, you're audible, Nanda.
Fine. I just heard some over speaking, so I thought. Done. So you're half an hour late home, your wife opens the door, unpredicted response. She may start shouting at you. She may refuse to give you a cup of coffee. One day you go 3 hours late, unpredicted response. Your wife opens the door and she smiles because she's happy on that day. Understand? So predictable and unpredictable. We have all unpredictable people around us, right? So we have to understand, and that understanding we can get only when we get the self-awareness. Self-management. How well are you well equipped in managing your anger? If you're angry at your younger brother, you can shout at him. You're not scared to shout at him. Yes or no? But if you're angry with your boss, think twice. Should I? Should I not? Why that thinking comes? Because you know that how you can be self-managed, right? So self-management is the next part of emotional intelligence. Then the social awareness. So how many of you hesitate to talk to strangers? How many of you hesitate to talk to strangers? Raise your hands. Raise your hands. Yes. Okay. So you hesitate to talk to strangers because you feel, हमें क्या करना है? Why do I want? So what purpose will it serve? So we look everything from the point of view of business. When we look everything from the point of view of making money, we don't talk to anybody. Yes or no? Only with purpose, right? So social awareness is how well are you equipped emotionally to speak to someone. Can you imagine a situation where you are landed, where people don't understand your language? They don't know the language you speak. It may be Kannada, Hindi, Marathi, English, right? If they don't understand those languages, then can you communicate with them? Can you communicate with them? How do you communicate with them? With your body movement, body gesture, right? So if you're thrown from the aeroplane at some place where people don't speak your language, right? So what will you do? How will you survive? How will you come out of it? How will you come and join your home back? Right? So all these capacity is possible only with social awareness, right? And the skill to manage the others or management of others. So how well are you equipped in understanding the other people's feelings? Seek to understand, then to be understood. We are, keep on complaining, right? Have you observed? We keep on complaining. I have got imperfect wife, imperfect husband, imperfect children, imperfect boss, imperfect society, imperfect, incompetent government. So everything is incompetent and everything is disturbed and everything is haphazard, right? So we keep on complaining. It is so easy to complain. But when we try to understand what is it exactly making that person to behave this way, when you're able to understand that, right, then the interpersonal relationship will be stronger because you are understanding from his point of view, right? So EQ includes what? Emotional quotient includes self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and management of others, right? These are the 4 key areas of emotional intelligence, right? So I'll give you one small example of the incident which recently took place, maybe 6 to 7 months back. There was a boy who was very intelligent, right? Because of his intelligence, he could get into IITs. He was a rank holder there. After that, he went abroad for his MS. He finished it and he sought a very suitable job for himself, right? He got settled and he got married, right? So that's it, right? Being settled in a life means what? You're getting good salary, beautiful wife, and you're at a big mansion, right? Everything was there. But after 3 to 4 years of his wedding, he committed suicide. Can you guess the reason why? He was intelligent, he was smart enough to make his living, he was married, he was happy in his life. But why he committed suicide? Because of the recession in the market, company decided to reduce the salary by 40%. When the decision was taken by the company, this fellow had taken a lot of loan, which he felt that he won't be able to repay it with a lower salary. He won't be able to lead a successful life the way he used to because of the low salary. So that hit his mind so badly that he committed suicide. So jaan hai to jahan hai. So when we understand it, right, then we have a life. So this life is not for the people only with IQ. This life is for the people with emotional intelligence only. If you don't have IQ, you can survive. If you don't have EQ, it is difficult to survive in the life. So we don't learn to enjoy failures. We don't learn to accept failures. So one failure equal to suicide. So that's how the younger generation is deciding now, right? So management of others is possible when you seek to understand and then to be understood, right? Is it going on well? Is it going on well? You can tell me by raising the hands. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
pretty interesting. See,
Okay.
75 participants.
Great, sir. Great.
83 growing.
Yeah.
I think pretty interesting.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So
You
can
can
you
go
see here
ahead,
the difference between
Nanda.
EQ and IQ? Okay. So it is not aptitude, but your attitude that decides your altitude. Altitude means what? It is a height where one person can.
No, you, Nanda, your voice is breaking.
Acha.
Nanda, your voice is breaking. I think you have to repeat from the beginning
Okay, sir. Okay.
of the slide.
Yeah. So I was.
It is not in the
Now?
action. It's not. Yeah. It's just like a captured picture.
Acha.
Just see to it if there is any adjustments to be made. Shubha, you can see that, right?
Are you able to see and hear, sir?
No, I think we do have some technical difficulties. Just check on your options
Yeah.
in terms of your voice and video.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe because of bandwidth issues, just let's wait for some couple of seconds probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just,
Yeah. Yeah.
just go ahead now. Let me see whether I'm able to. Yeah, go ahead. I'm able to
Yeah.
see you well. Go.
Yeah. Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Okay. So IQ will help you to get into the job. But what makes you stay there and grow there is your EQ, right? So all technical know-how, architecture, all these things are part of IQ. Okay, and the motivational, reflective, self-awareness, relationship management, and learning the organizational dynamics and becoming socially aware and empathy. Do you know what is empathy? And sympathy is different, empathy is different. Empathy is you're feeling exactly the way other person is feeling. Then it is called as empathetic listening or showing empathy. Understand? So this is the difference between IQ and EQ. See, there is a shairi which says, वक्त हमेशा मिलता है जिंदगी बदलने के लिए, वक्त हमेशा मिलता है जिंदगी बदलने के लिए, जिंदगी दोबारा नहीं मिलती वक्त बदलने के लिए.
Nanda, just a minute. Here, everybody are Dilwale Dulhane le jayenge. So better you talk in English.
Okay, okay. Okay, so this was just to take you people out of the monotony, fine. There was no other issue. If you can follow, you can enjoy. When I say share, you should say irshad. Okay, right. So this is a matrix which you can see how the IQ and EQ are affected, right? So for goal setting, you need 30% of IQ, 70% of EQ. Because I have seen a successful medical doctor saying, I never wanted to be a doctor, but my father wanted me to be a doctor, so I'm a doctor after serving for 35 years.
Nanda, I'm sorry.
Yeah?
Shubha, can you hear me?
Any issues, sir? Any issues?
Nanda, your voice is breaking. Can you start from this PPT again?
Yeah, no problem. Now is it clear?
Now it's clear, yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, now it's clear. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I was telling, it's about goal setting. So when you set your goal, you need only 30% IQ and 70% EQ. Because if you don't like what you're doing, any success without fulfillment is a failure. Any success, I repeat, any success without fulfillment is a failure. So if you don't like what you're doing, then leading life is a useless thing. Yes or no? So EQ 70% is needed for goal setting. So I have seen a successful medical doctor saying, I never wanted to be a doctor, but my father wanted me to be a doctor, so I am a doctor. And after serving for 30-35 years, he is in the situation wherein he doesn't love what he is doing. So always remember this point when you set your goal. Don't set your goal based on the intentions of others or advice of others. So think whether you really like what you're doing. Yes? Then next is decision making. For decision making, of course, you need IQ and EQ. Just because you want to have a Mercedes car, you cannot sell all your property and get only one car, right? So for decision making, it is always 50-50, 50% IQ and 50% EQ is needed. Then for teamwork, you need only 40%. What is to be done? What is to be done as a manager? How you need to motivate others, right? But how you exactly do is your EQ, understanding, empathy, and standing in the shoes of the others, motivating them, persuading them. So, right? For all these things, you need 60% EQ. Then for communication, it is only 10%, right? I don't care how much you know unless I know how much you care, right? I don't care how much you know unless I know how much you care. That is the attitude of the people. People will never remember what you said or what you do, but they will never forget how you make them feel. So for communication, it is always 90% which is required. For time management, it is 70, 30, 70. Then for motivation and inspiration, it is only 5% IQ for motivation, and 95% is EQ, right? So if a student fails in the exam, he may just say, meet a person who has failed in 2 subjects so that he feels happy, right? So what happened? Why are you nervous? I lost in 1 subject. Don't worry, yeah, I lost in 3. That consoling thing they seek. So failures always attract failures, and the winners or the rank holders always attract such people, if you observe this in a party, right? So this slide is very important. When you set a goal, concentrate on your EQ. Decision making, it is 50-50. Teamwork, it is 40-60. Communication, 10% only IQ, 90% is EQ. See, this emotional intelligence is such a vast topic. I cover it for 8 hours, and the time given for me is very limited. In this, whatever is possible, we are trying to do. Okay.
Even if you want, if the participants are willing, you can little extend, no issues.
Okay, okay, right. So we'll come back to this slide later, and let's talk about this slide. Yes. Okay. So how do you set your goal? How do you set your goal? Based on your aspiration, right? So you are required to be dependent on what? A particular set of liking towards it, right? I don't like doing it, right? Recently I watched a movie which very clearly shows about this goal setting based on the goals of the parents. Since parents could not achieve that goal, then they impose it on the children so that they will achieve it, right? 1 minute, sir. I'll just open one more PPT is there. Just allow me. So in this I had given, yeah, this one, right? So can you see this? Yeah, okay. So IQ is a tip of the iceberg, right? And EQ is the, what do you think is the ratio? How many of you feel it is 30-70? Raise your hands. How many of you feel 30-70? Raise your hands. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, okay, good, good. Right, right, right. So here I just want you to visualize your teacher, right? Whom you liked a lot, right? You may be 60 years old, 65 years old, but I just want you to recollect and recall your teacher, his or her face, his or her behavior, attitude, the motivational sayings or words. Can you recall? Yes? Okay. So what you liked in the teacher, the way he taught you, or the way he spoke to you, the way he handled the situation, the way he used to walk, run, and make you feel happy in the class, or the way he used to give you the motivational boosters, right? So, okay, you just bring that person's face in front of your eyes. Bring that person's face in front of your eyes. Yes? Yeah. So those attributes which you can see apparently, they are tip of the iceberg. And to get those qualities, what the teacher struggled is the 70% which is not visible. The basic personality, how he was made, the basic personality, how he created it for himself, right? If you are able to speak in front of a large